Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. This is Unshackled Fury.
The waves are receding, fall is beckoning, and big things are soon to pass. As your boys of summer are back once again to dive deep into it all. So welcome back for episode 184 of your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berserker, and with me once again is the man who always threatens you with a good time, Mr. Jez Gordon. Welcome back again, good sir.
Hey man, it's good to be back. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it?
It's been a break. I promised. I promised it would be, and then
I needed it.
and then we had to extend one additional week because, quite frankly, I don't think either of us were feeling very good. So it was just a matter of timing. But we're back. We made it, and we do have some summer tales to tell. We're not coming back empty-handed. I know there's a lot of 12.1 stuff. We're just a couple of days into the new patch and getting a chance to check it out and see what's what. But we do, well, like I said, we do have some summer business to get through, and wanted to share a few things. So I know a few things that you've been up to, but for folks that maybe weren't in some of the corners of the internet that I've been in, tell folks what you've been doing.
I've been working a bit
hard.
more. Yeah, and that's just all really. It's just Xbox kind of, man, like the summer, Xbox decided to blow itself up over the summer. So a lot of
I heard something about that.
Yeah, a little bit. Blizzard completely unscathed, funnily enough, but the rest of Xbox not doing so great right now. So there was a lot of work, a lot of articles to write and research to do. So it's kind of like, it was kind of fortuitous that started happening when we decided to take a break, because I absolutely needed my weekends.
Yeah,
the last few weeks. But it seems like we've come out the other side of it now. Good timing. Season 2 is here as well.
Yeah.
I also took a break from WoW because I just couldn't fit everything in. Something had to give.
Yeah.
And I've just, as we speak, about half an hour landed back in the UK, traveling back from Germany. So it's been a very, very busy.
You're just screaming in, wheels still smoking, getting into this recording. I know you're. Here I am. I'm picking up my bags. I'm landing. I'll be there soon. You were giving me the updates. I'm like, man, this is you're rolling hard. This is what happens when you're, because you're a bit younger than I am, and I think you can still get away with it a little bit. But I probably would have had a coronary by now and just like, nope, sorry, it's the Jez show now. I no longer exist.
Well, there's my luggage on the bed. I haven't even unpacked it.
You haven't even unpacked yet.
So.
This is how dedicated you are. You're making time when it's what, near midnight?
Well,
11?
It's midnight. But I let you down last week, so I didn't want to do it twice. So here we are.
Never a letdown. Always glad to be here. And you as I messaged you about it, funny enough, sometimes your worlds collide in ways that you don't expect. And what is it? Moore's Law is broken. Broken Silicon show, podcast, whatever it is, that I've watched for years and years, because that guy's like the king of leaks. Like this, I told you, I've built my entire 2027 PC rebuild around the timelines that he's leaking about Intel and Nvidia and like what's going on with the 60 series or the 50 Super series, and like he's the guy. So you were talking mostly, I think, Xbox stuff primarily on that one. With him. How did that come together?
Well, he leaked the Xbox Helix chip Magnus, which I kind of made my career leaking the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series S because some big outlets said that there was not going to be two Xboxes this gen. There was just going to be a Series X, and I was like, no, I've got good information. There's going to be two. There's going to be a Series S, Series X. I kind of made my reputation on that, leaking Xbox hardware. But like Moore's Law is dead. Dropped the Magnus chip thing. That was like completely off my radar, and I was like, oh shit, I got scooped. Got to up my game. But yeah, the dude knows his shit, man. Like seriously.
That's right. Moore's Law is dead. That's the name. That's right. Yeah, I loop
back around and
on it.
Magnus, like it's not the code name. It wasn't the code name of the Xbox itself. It was the code name of the AMD chip. I don't have AMD sources. I've only got Xbox sources, but like because of his leak, I was able to get other leaks, so it helped me out a lot, right? So yeah, the dude's awesome. He just reached out to me and he was like, "Do you want to come on the show?" You know, some people sometimes have like sent me things he said about Xbox and about my reporting in the past and tried to stir drama between us, I think. But no, he's a really cool dude, really gracious dude, and he taught me a lot in a very short space of time because I don't know much about tech. I'm just a guy with a keyboard, you know. But the dude's really smart guy.
Yeah, it was wild seeing the two of you together. I'm like, man, this is like my world's colliding. And I was just like, all right, here they are. Not that I ever forget about how big your reach is. That's why I think it will never cease to be hilarious to me that you do this with me, and this is like way small potatoes when you're like out there with the Xbox stuff. And you, who is it that you enter? Todd Howard?
Yeah, I interviewed Todd Howard the other.
Even I know who that is.
The Skyrim guy.
The Skyrim guy.
Skyrim guy. Yeah, I was really floored when they offered me an interview with Todd Howard because only a couple of people got to interview him. I think it was me and Jason from Bloomberg. So yeah, I was really humbled to Jason Schreier. So I was very felt humbled to speak to the guy. But had a job to do because he's Bethesda is one of the studios departments that were hit really hard with layoffs. Blizzard's completely escaped it so far. Part of me is wondering, like, are they waiting until after BlizzCon to drop the hammer? But Blizzard's had a very, very good year, and I leaked Johanna Fairy's internal emails last week. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. You did.
Yeah. So she was saying that Blizzard is now the biggest Xbox studio, the biggest money maker. So that they've overtaken Call of Duty, which is insane, and that's all of Blizzard together. Oh. So that's like Overwatch, Warcraft, and also it's like Call of Duty had a really bad year last year with Black Ops 7, I think it was. Oh. So Call of Duty had a really bad year, which helped Blizzard take that spot. But Blizzard had a really good year. Like Overwatch is like bigger than it's been since COVID, I think they said. And like wow. COVID was like 2022. So like COVID, all service games were flying during COVID. So for them to be for Overwatch to be as big as it was during COVID is crazy, right? And they didn't say too much about World of Warcraft, but also Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred absolutely did really well as well. So I think Blizzard's in a good spot right now, thankfully. But we'll see what happens because there's still a bunch more layoffs to come for Xbox, unfortunately, from what I've heard.
That's not good. Yeah, I could see them waiting until after BlizzCon if there's some hammer to drop on Blizzard, which
I've got a feeling that if they do some layoffs for Blizzard, it'll be minimal, I would think. I think like what I can see happening more so is layoffs in Xbox Game Studios. So potentially Halo Studios. Halo Studios is just, they have wasted so much money. Like hundreds of millions of dollars down the toilet because of just floundering, you know. It's really astronomical, the failing of 343, now Halo Studios. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. It sucks talking about layoff stuff because, you know, it's people's lives, right?
Yeah, well,
it sucks.
Maybe Blizzard can do a tour around and tell people how to take care of business or something. I don't know, a little familiar.
John Ferry's strategy is like, John Ferry's strategy has just been incredible. You know, like, I don't know what it is she's done differently to the previous leads at Blizzard, like especially like Mikey Barr and stuff, but she's been absolutely killing it, man. So I would hope that Microsoft looks to Blizzard as an example to be followed rather than something to be cut back on. But you know, it's hard to say what they'll do.
Yeah, we never know exactly, but you got a good finger on the pulse of it, so I would suggest kind of following your lead on these sorts of things. But yeah, glad you got to do some cool stuff, get some time off. You know, that's always the purpose of typically summer and winter breaks around here, is to recharge. And yeah, I did not really play a whole lot during that stretch of time because we knew it was coming and I wanted to get a break. And I realized I messed up my my slides situation here, but as you know, I did get to do something very Blizzard related, which was I got to take a tour of the Blizzard campus.
Yes.
Something I've wanted to do forever. And through a very generous connection that I have there, we were down in Southern California, and we had one day where it was just kind of a travel day between Anaheim and San Diego. We were going and went to the zoo down there and saw some pandas. But on the way there, we did have a little bit of break. And so sure enough, was able to schedule a time to get down there and to see it face up and close. And I took some photos, Jez.
Nice.
This seemed like a good place to share them.
I agree.
We're gonna do this here. Let's see. Boom. Nope. That's our album. It's coming. Elms Viking. Here we go. So as we were leaving, lo and behold, we happened to pass by the Anaheim Convention Center. So it felt really weird to be right next to where we're gonna be in a month. But it was also very fitting that on the way, passing right by, you know, the only other place that I've really experienced all of this in person. But of course, we get there, and what's one of the first things you see? It's like you pull right in through the gates. I had to get buzzed in through security, and they took my IDs and the whole thing. And you go right through the gates, and the orc statue in the little courtyard is like right there. Like we parked maybe 50 feet from where the orc statue is. It's just like right there. It's not hidden behind anything or hard to get to. It's just literally right there. So my family was with me, and we got a chance to, you know, see it there. And we took a few pictures, and you can see, you know, it's not, what's funny, it's not a very like big place. Like I thought it was going to be, maybe just because in my mind it's so mythical and epic. Like I thought it was going to be a lot bigger than it was. But there we were. There was the orc statue. Walking in through the kind of the front doors, there's my son and our guide, and you kind of get a sense of like the scale of like entering this place. Is, you know, the main building. This is I think this was building 2. I think this is where the Warcraft team is housed. And one of the things that unfortunately did happen while we were there, since we are so close to BlizzCon, there were a lot of areas that we were not allowed to go because there were things being discussed or worked on like out in the open. And so There was even one point where we were walking down a hallway and our guide kind of looks around a corner there and he sticks his arm out and he goes, "This is as far as I can let you go. You guys can't go any further than this." There's just a whole lot of that kind of stuff going on. But here were the main doors to get in, and we went into the lobbyway there, and right in there they've got, I don't know if you remember when, I think this was Warlords, and they had the big gore howls sitting on top of the taxi cab in Times Square, and this is the one. So they brought it in, and it's in their main lobby now. And when you come in there, there's a museum, and I didn't get a very good shot of the door here, but you can see kind of on the right hand side where you can almost see the word museum. They have a curator for this museum, and every so often they kind of refresh everything that's in here. And of all the things that I saw, Jez, they had the photo, the actual portrait of Xal'atath, the one that everybody puts in their house. Well, that's the real one right there. We saw it. It's they keep it in the museum, along with, some other kind of cool things that you can see. Every little piece of it had something about, most of the franchises. So this was some of the Warcraft stuff we saw, particularly the housing. They had like the Hearthstone, or the what do they call it? The post that's right there, that marks your property, and some of the things there. This was the one attempt that I made to photograph something super secret and cool, and you can see how well that photo turned out. So I can't really tell you what that was. It was probably the auditorium that they have there, but I didn't hold my phone still enough, and so I got all fucked up. So sorry about that, guys. But in it, they also kind of had some of these larger like pictures, pictograms, whatever you call it, put together, where they're talking about like character development. So they had one of the Kerrigan, Sarah Kerrigan from StarCraft, obviously Xal'atath there. So really neat to kind of go through and see, what their processes are like, and talking about the evolution of these characters and kind of what informs what they do over time. Also building lands. They had a whole section about Hallowfall. So I took one of these photos just talking about like how they came up with it and what it is and sort of that kind of thing. I took this one for you, Wolfisto and Wolfisto's development and kind of how they came up with it and what they did. And I thought this was just a badass kind of picture of that whole thing. That was neat. And then also a copy of a 1999 map that Chris Metzen made of Azeroth. And so you can see kind of how they originally envisioned this land almost 30 years ago. I'll probably blow it up a little bit. Let's see if this works. There we go. You can kind of get a sense of where they thought we were going to go, what we're going to do. Let's see. I could probably keep it on this while we go. There we go. Now, I've always known that on campus, they have their own Starbucks. And sure enough, after we went into the little museum, had to make a stop at the Starbucks. So we did, where they have a secret menu of their own with like 20 different drinks on it, named after all kinds of things and all kinds of different shit in it. And the one person there was very nice, and we were by ourselves. So she was like, "Oh, make whatever you guys want." So I got in the upper right-hand corner there, I think they called it the Blizzard drink. I was like, well, it just seems like it's the all-encompassing everything in a blender. Fuck it. As a guy who drinks his coffee black, this is about as far to the other extreme as I'll go. But it was very good, and it was loaded with sugar, and it kept me going for the whole thing. But yeah, it was super cool that they have, their own cafeteria, which we did end up having lunch at after all of this was over. And sitting right next to me was Taryn Gregory talking to some person that sounded like maybe a reporter or somebody that was also there as a visitor. I did not bother him, although I kind of regret that I should have just like jumped over to his table and be like, "Hey, it's me." But I'm not that important, and I had to let that one go. But it was cool to see Taryn there. And then, of course, all of the statues at the various buildings that they have kind of spread around campus. They have all these big statues that if you've been to BlizzCon, you've probably seen these. You'll probably see them when you go down there. But this is where they live the other 300 and something days of the year. So the super cool Raynor statue I've seen a few times, and he looks, if you see this in person, he looks grizzled as fuck. Like he's seen some serious shit, and it's man, he's seen some things. Also, Illidan, also seen some things. And he's crazy looking in this thing. And these statues, mind you, are like 8-9 feet tall. They're enormous. So, Jez, next month, you're going to see them. That's going to be rad. You're also going to see your girl, who also has an amazing statue. This thing is huge, super high detail. I mean, like all of these things, it's wild. And they just have these kind of spread out in these lobbies. They have like 6 or 7 buildings. And in each one, they just kind of have these statues and art just crammed into them. Tracer, a couple of the other art pieces that they have. These are, I think, BlizzCon key arts that they've had posted up around the place.
I've seen a lot of these statues. They take them to Gamescom, you know.
They move them around, yeah, for the big ones. BlizzCon, I know I've seen a bunch of them. I don't know what happened to the Varian one. Maybe it'll be back, or maybe it got shipped overseas. I don't know. Went into the Overwatch area. They had a bunch of cool Overwatch art. Here's one of the original Warcraft 3 items. This is a display that they've had. This is like their original Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne display. And it's old and it's kind of dinged up and chipped up in certain places, but they've got it preserved in just a random ass hallway. It's pretty sweet seeing, piece of history just hanging out in a random hall. This is also for you. Here's your Undermine car. Here's your Goblin car live and in person. Awesome. They didn't turn it on, so I didn't get to see all the cool green lights and smoke coming out of it. But it's just there in their parking garage, just hanging out. So I guess you can go take a ride in it. But that was fun. And if you go too close to certain doors, you can see that they have stuff like danger, ninjas and pirates and lasers and shit. So don't go in there because that's not for you. Saw that one. The Tyrael statue, if you've ever seen this, the like tendrils on his back light up and they hum. And you can hear like lightning crackling and stuff like that. So seeing all that was pretty wild. This is for Rommel. There's some Varian comic art just on a wall. That was sweet. Seeing our boy looking glamorous as a gladiator. Logosh. And then we got to see what I might consider the pièce de résistance, which is the Blizzard Library. This is something I've seen lots of photos of. They do some of their video presentations in here. But essentially what the library is like a collection of all of their books, all of their games, and a lot of the stuff that inspires them or gives them ideas about things. And you go in there and there's just all of these works that they either house or they use for reference, or if somebody's looking for something, you can go check it out. There's games, all kinds of things that they use as, guides and inspiration. You can see a bunch of the, franchise stuff here, the Warcraft stuff, the StarCraft stuff, the books, board games. I didn't even know they had board games of StarCraft. I've never even seen that before. And I was like, man, I can't hide this under my shirt, but I definitely would love to take that up somewhere. You may have seen in the past, I think it was Ian and maybe Holly did a presentation right here in these chairs in front of this wall with the cosmology chart on it. It was pretty cool seeing that up close. And they also got some art books right there. The Blizzard World poster that they had, which was above this big table that opens up into like a gaming table. These boards come off the top of it. And I've seen, again, photos of this over time. And they've got Onyxia's head up on the wall. So definitely getting their housing stuff going. And then just more shelves of all the books and shit that they've got in there. Here's your Sylvanas statue. I know you desperately wanted to see Sylvanas live and in person, and it was about as close that they could get. They also had the Stormwind mailbox from the Warcraft movie. They had one of the props there, just hanging out in a random lobby across the street in a building you would never suspect had anything to do with anything that we do. It's just a business park. It's crazy. Pretty sure I know what's going on in this secret project area where no visitors are allowed, because when I mentioned something about something, I got a very coy look. And I'm gonna take that as confirmation that BlizzCon is gonna be amazing, and I can't wait for an announcement that may have something to do with a franchise that we've been waiting to come back for a long time. It'd be great. And I also thought it was cool that they had, like, for Hearthstone, this like where you badge in instead of just like a black box on a wall. They have this Hearthstone compass. I thought that was pretty neat. And then, Jez, last thing for you, the original Diablo costume from 1997 that somebody used to walk around in, and they've had it mounted up and displayed in their offices for a long time. But this, if you go back, way back to your childhood, this was the real life Diablo that was walking the mean streets of might have been San Diego. No, San Jose. Maybe that's where they were back then. But I thought that was pretty neat. Then, of course,
That's awesome.
last but not least, there was a Junkrat statue, and then that's me in front of the orc. That was the one I posted, I think, on Twitter. So there you go. That was it. That was the tour. I was so nervous I forgot to turn the car off. I just parked it, then got out and started walking away.
How long was the tour, roughly?
3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, we walked around and had lunch. So the whole thing took like 3 hours. We took our time. And it was just us.
The WWE building tour was about half an hour. But to be fair, it was pretty new. I think that they hadn't long been moved in there. Like, I think like a year or something.
No.
A place with the big Andre the Giant mural.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much in there. It was pretty empty. But yeah, I suppose Blizzard's been there for a hot minute, right? Quite a long time.
That's been their main studio. I mean, they've had that location for a long time, and then, you know, kind of everything's consolidated there over the years. But yeah, very fortunate. It was just us, my family and our guide, and thanks to them again for letting us do that. It was very surreal. It was very surreal. I kind of couldn't comprehend that I was there. It was just like, I'm trying to be cool, and I'm the only I think kind of jackassy question that I did ask is when we were eating lunch. Because I was like, listen, I don't have to see it. I just want to know, like, where is Chris Metzen's office? I just want to know, just like where in this space does he live? That's all I want to know. And
Did that tell you?
what they told me is probably the most perfect answer, and it tells you everything about Chris Metzen. Was, well, his office is over there in the main building, but he's never in it. He's always just out on the floor talking to the Warcraft team. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like the guy. So yeah, that was the big kind of to do. Yeah, we went to Disneyland, and yeah, we did some other cool stuff, but like that was really special. And
I'm jealous.
you'll get your tour. You should get your tour.
I hope so.
It's I mean, you're coming to BlizzCon, so you're like one step away, and it is close. Like if you see how close Blizzard Studio the studios are to the convention center, it's like 20 minutes. They're like super close to each other. That makes a lot of sense that they would have picked that location to do the convention, because it is close. And considering that they probably pay out untold thousands to move all those statues over to the location, you probably don't want to pay by the mile too much.
I remember the first time I went to Gamescom, or maybe the second time. I'm pretty sure it was the first time. Blizzard had a really big spread there, because I think it was the year they were announcing Overwatch, I think, if I remember correctly. So like they had like a whole sort of corner of a hall to themselves.
Wow.
And they had like all the statues and all the stuff. Like Blizzard always goes really hard for Gamescom for some reason.
It's good.
But
What's in LA, isn't it?
BlizzCon, Gamescom? No, Gamescom's in Germany, in Cologne.
What am I thinking of?
E3 you're thinking of. But E3 is gone. No more E3.
Yeah. Well, they still have
Edinburgh.
offices in Europe, right? I mean, that's who you talk to, right? Is the Blizzard folks over there?
No, I talk to the Blizzard folks in America. I don't know if they have UK folks. I mean, they've got like a UK PR team, but it's not bit big. I don't think they've got like a Blizzard office in the UK. I could be wrong. Maybe they do.
No, they might have closed it. I don't know. So that was the big one. That was the big part of my summer break. And then the only other thing that I wanted to touch on before we get to our metal album of the week, which I've already spoiled. I cannot believe how many content creators there are in our space. I think it's because I came up in the time when like podcasts were the thing. And so like my universe of knowledge about content creators in Warcraft space has been primarily podcasts. And then, you know, you had some, a few big YouTubers come in. And so you kind of got like those two. I have come across so many creators through TikTok. That's kind of my primary brain drain. Certain parts of the day, and I just come across one after another, and it just completely reinforces that we're like the last of a generation. Like it is such a different vibe, and there's so many people, and there's like a lot of really good stuff. There's lore people, there's people making videos about, you know, all the new stuff, there's collectors, there's people just making funny shit. Like it is quite impressive, I have to say, and I'm glad that there's still like a healthy content creation community for Warcraft that is out there. It's so clearly shifted to another thing, and I suppose if I ever had to start over and had the time or energy to do it, I could see why video is king. But this is probably the best you're gonna get right now, people. So sorry. I think technically that we have an account, but I'm not doing much with it. So, all right. With all that, we have 2 metal albums of the week. Jez told me he's got one of his own. So first up, get out of here. From 2016, from March of 2016, one of the greatest concept albums of all time, Jomsviking by the mighty Amon Amarth. This is the I have to pull up the info here. It's essentially a story about a guy who accidentally kills a dude who was going to be married off to the woman that he loved. And it's like his journey trying to, like, he flees and then he tries to get back to her. And it's like the whole saga. And then you learn about, you know, Jomsvikings, like these mercenary Vikings, and just how badass they were. And there's just some really banging songs on this thing. And it is one of my favorite Amon Amarth albums. It always gets me fired up. Anytime, any place. There's a couple videos for it that are kind of fun. But just like the whole concept of these dudes just training and beating the shit out of each other. And that's just what they do because they want to be unkillable. They want to be the best. And so that's just how they live. It's hardcore all the time. So yeah, it was one of my favorites immediately, and I've loved it ever since. And I was like, you know, we gotta get back from summer break with a kick-ass album that's got a whole bunch of badass tunes that get you fired up, and this will do it. Jomsviking, straight out of the gate. It's just a killer. But Jez, you said you had a recommendation for the folks. What do you got this week?
Mine is a new band I've discovered recently called Lowen, Lowen. You might like them because they're often recommended in the vein of Amon Amarth, but instead of being sort of Viking coded, they're Persian coded and Farsi coded and ancient Mesopotamia and Babylon themed.
Nice.
So they're a British band, and the lead singer is a woman, an Iranian woman, and her vocals are just unreal. But the album's called I'm going to pull it up here. Do Not Go to War with the Demons of Mazandaran. That's what the album's called.
Wow.
And it absolutely blew my mind. This album came out in 2024, I think.
Okay.
It's Spotify algorithm recommended me, and I was just immediately in love with this band. They are tremendous. So it's prog and doom with a Arabic kind of twist. I think people who like System of a Down probably like them. But yeah, they're just fantastic. Definitely check them out.
All right, Lowen. I like what you described. I'll be jamming that over to the in-laws for dinner after we're done recording here. I'm gonna figure that out. I'll give you my full report tonight while I'm editing. I'll
do it.
I'm gonna check that out. All right. Well, with summer vacation out of the way, with our metal albums now recommended to you. Got to get to a rage topic this week that I think is universal to a point, and it's also once again time for me to turn the show into sort of part diary. So hold on, everybody. I got a real one for you. Let's go.
Let's rage.
So it's not about gaming. This is about real stuff. So I'm gonna apologize. I'm sure the AI fucking chapter maker will just figure out what this is. So if you don't want to listen to this, you can skip on to the next section, I guess. So we've been gone since early mid-June. And part of the reason why we take a break at that time is just because we got like birthdays and it's the end of the school year, and then there's 4th of July, and there's vacations. There's just like all kinds of shit going on. So right after, like the week after we dropped our last episode, so this was back in mid-June, had my birthday, went to San Francisco for the weekend, and had a good time there. Went to some Giants games. That team is terrible. And that's probably the last baseball I'm going to be watching for God knows how long. But had a good time. Went to the Phantom of the Opera, which was all kinds of badass. And I don't care if you don't like musicals. That's the most metal musical there is. Like, it's just thunder and shit. Like, it's so fucking good, and you can't convince me otherwise. But had a great time there. But while I was actually at the Phantom of the Opera, I noticed something that was going on with me that I've been kind of battling for a little bit. This is going to get gross, and I apologize, everybody. If you don't want to listen to this, again, you can just fast forward. But I have been dealing with, or trying to delay, seriously dealing with, an abdominal hernia that I've had, kind of pseudo have had. Like, I can feel that like there's something kind of happening, but it hasn't quite presented itself fully. And so if you don't know what that means that my abdominal wall has a little hole in it, and sometimes your innards can get pushed through it. Sometimes that's just fat. God. Sometimes that's your intestines. Sometimes that's your meats. It can be a variety of things. And so I've for a while had a little, huh?
How did that happen?
Well, I don't really know entirely. I think it's a combination of factors. I think it's a posture issue. I think it's an equipment issue because I had a chair that kind of like made me sit like kind of arched out, where it like pushed out my stomach a little bit. And frankly, just being overweight, and you put it all together and probably lifting too hard. And something got stuck. Like, there was always a little something that was trying to work its way out, but I could always kind of just like nudge it back in. And I noticed when I was at the show, there was like a little hard lump, like right in the middle of my stomach. And it wouldn't go away, and I couldn't push it back in. And I was like, oh, fuck. I think this is a problem. So that was a Saturday, end up, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there. I'm like, well, maybe it'll go away. Maybe it'll kind of work its way back in, just kind of deal with whatever. I think it came about maybe Tuesday, a couple days later, and I was like, this hurts like shit. I've been delaying it as long as possible, but I'm going to have to go to the emergency room. And here is where the nightmare begins. And this is what the rage segment is really about, is the state of American healthcare. Okay. I have tried as much as possible to not go to the emergency room, to not go to a hospital, because I know the one that I have to go to. And if you live in the Sacramento area, you know what I'm talking about. UC Davis Medical Center, which is where everybody goes. The regular people, the homeless people, the crazy people, prisoners, whoever, like somebody shoots the cops, gets in an accident, that's where they take them. Somebody's losing their shit and is throwing their shit on a bus and smearing it on a sidewalk, that's where they go. You know, old people, young people, everybody goes to this place. So it is like a fucking war zone there, 24/7. Whatever you think is the worst emergency room you've ever seen, it's that place. So I'm like, all right, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going to get down there, going to drive down there and just whatever it takes. I'm going to deal with it. I get in there and they're like, all right, do some intake. We're going to try to push it back in. Here's some good drugs, which were all right. No, that part's not so bad. And we're going to push really hard to try to push this thing back into your gut. Like, okay, fine. Give the meds. They put me in the back into this ancillary room. This is just like some other waiting room next to the waiting room. They push, and you can imagine how great that felt. Can't get it to go back in. They're like, wow, this is really stuck. I said, yeah, that's what I said. And then Jez, I am then lost in that room for 4 fucking hours because nobody told anybody else where I was, or that at that point I needed an MRI or some other CAT scan thing to see what exactly was going on with me. So I'm just there laying on a bed in a random room, just waiting for hours and hours and hours and hours. I see on the app that they've got for this system that I'm being scheduled for a CAT scan, but then it gets scheduled, then it gets canceled, then it gets scheduled, then it gets canceled. 4 times this happens. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I finally grabbed somebody. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you work here, but like, where am I supposed to be going? Like, what's going on? I don't know, but you're going to have to go back to the main waiting room. I get back to the main waiting room, and there's like 10 times as many people as there were when I first got there at 8:30 in the morning. So it's just going off. There's nowhere to sit. I got a homeless guy who like broke his leg, and he's like accosting me and my wife. And I'm like, okay, I got to go for a walk now. I got to go over here. I hear my name called. They go, we've been looking for you. Why haven't you been answering our calls to get you to a CAT scan? I'm like, motherfucker, you put me somewhere else. I haven't heard shit. So I go back to they walk me back to another part of the hospital. Like, okay, sit here and wait. We're going to do the CAT scan. As I'm waiting, this woman clearly just came from a car accident. And I found out later, yes, she had hit a tree. She comes wheeling and screaming in pain and all this stuff. And they're like, well, we got to get to her first. I said, yes, please do. An hour goes by. Finally, they get me back there. I get the scan. Okay, now I go back to the waiting room. And then I wait. I say, okay, yeah, you got a thing. Yes, I know I got a thing. Okay, we'll come to this other room and we're going to talk to the guy about surgery. Okay, we're going to talk to the guy about surgery. I go in a room. I talk to the guy about surgery. And he's like, well, if you want to wait for 2 days here at this hospital, we might be able to get you in. I said, 2 days? I said, yeah, because everything is full and we don't know if we can get to you in like the next 2 days, maybe 3 days. Do you think you can stay here until then? I said, well, I can't live like this. So yes, please. I'll just wait it out. I said, okay, we'll just wait it out. I get put in, not in a bed, but like a gurney and wheeled into another room at 9 o'clock that night with like 10 other people. Some poor Nona who's next to me snoring her ass off. I can't sleep. I don't know what's going on. Get me down the next morning. They wheel me to another room. At 4 o'clock in the morning, some guy was taking my blood. I don't know why. Get me down. Next morning, they put me in what I can only describe was a makeshift room in a war zone where it's like basically cardboard that has been duct taped to metal poles in a big room to try to make makeshift cubicle bays just to put people in. And while I'm waiting in there then the next morning, I hear these two women that are next to each other, and they're screaming at each other, telling each other to shut the fuck up. The cops get called. One of them gets kicked out. They're still arguing and screaming. Another one's almost going to get tased. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is going on? What am I doing here? What is happening? Finally, I've now been there about 30 hours. A team of doctors come in. A team of doctors squeeze into this little makeshift cube where I'm laying there wondering what the fuck I'm doing. And I say, well, here's the situation. You can either get surgery here sometime in the next 2 days And it'll essentially be the trauma surgery version of this, where they're just going to cut you right up the middle, cut the thing out and stitch you back up, and that's going to be it. Or you can wait and get scheduled to see somebody else on a consult, and they have a fancier robotic version that is less invasive that they can do and fix you up. Okay, well, if you can make that happen quickly, like an emergency consult kind of thing, then sure, I can wait it out to get that. Okay, we'll tell the people emergency consult, we'll make it quick. Hopefully you can see somebody in the next couple of weeks, next week or two at max. I said, okay, I can gut it out till then. Just get me the fuck out of this nightmare hellscape that I'm currently been in for the last however long. Let's get it scheduled. Okay, fine. So I'm waiting. They're like, okay, we're going to move you up to a bed in a room now. Like, why are we moving me up into a bedroom? I'm leaving. Like, don't put, fine, take me up there. Still, take me up there. So now I'm on like the 7th floor of this place. I'm finally getting some peace and quiet, except for the poor guy, old guy next to me, who's got the worst case of hiccups you've ever heard. And that's why he's in the hospital, because it won't stop hiccuping. So we're waiting. Next doctor comes in and says, okay, well, I talked to the surgeon and this is what we're going to do. And you don't want to have it done now. You want to wait and get the consult and like do like the fancier version of it. I say, yeah, okay, I will wait. Let's do that. Okay, fine. Gonna get your discharge papers. We'll get you out of here. Okay, great. As I'm waiting, the first team of doctors that came in, the first head doctor, she comes in and tells me essentially she talked to the surgeon who would do the surgery that I'm now going to put myself on a wait list for. And she says she might not do it because I'm too fat.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. If you've never looked at me and you've never talked to me and you've never seen me and all you're going off of is my body mass index, my BMI, yeah, it probably doesn't look great, but I guarantee you I'm large. If you see me in person, I'm a larger human. Probably doesn't mean as much about me as it might somebody else. I don't know, but this is what I want to do. So please make this happen. Okay, fine. I'll relay your concerns and we'll make it scheduled. Jez, the soonest, once I left the hospital, I came home. I'm like, God, what a nightmare. I'm so glad. Take a shower and lay in my own bed. This is horrible. After all of that, that was June. That was 2 months ago. Jez, how soon was the consult that got scheduled?
I have no idea.
October.
Oh, boy.
So I get a hold of somebody that we know, and I say, hey, listen, that is not going to happen. That October that's the most, and I will get a change of clothes and some snacks, and I will march my ass back to that emergency room, and I will fucking camp out there and wait with everybody else to get this thing taken care of, if you can't do any better than that. Okay, well, let me see what we can do. So, Jez, a very long story short, I finally have my consult in 4 days.
That's
so
crazy.
It has been 2 months of having this hole in me, which unfortunately has also gotten bigger because I can tell that it's gotten worse. It's probably about the size of a quarter now, whatever's going in there. You could probably stick at least a couple fingers in it because of what's going on.
Yeah.
So dealing with that. And then the cherry on top of it all, Jez, not only do I have like long-term spinal issues, not only do I have now this crazy hernia problem. They were doing some blood work, as I mentioned, had some blood work during all of this. And there was something about my blood work that came back that they didn't like. And I said, okay, we need to get an MRI of your brain like today. I said, okay,
Right.
let's go ahead and schedule that. Yes, my brain, my noggin, all that. So get an MRI, scaring the shit out of me. A day goes by, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days go by. And I'm like, I haven't heard from anybody. Is anybody going to tell me what this MRI showed or said or anything? A week goes by, 10 days go by, Jez. 10 fucking days go by, and finally I get a readout. Not my doctor, just the tech going, okay, here's what we see. I said, okay, that doesn't sound good. Can my doctor please tell me what it is that we're looking at? Another week goes by. Says, finally, just a few days ago, this is how long all this shit is taking. Had a consult with my doctor who tells me, unfortunately, I do have something growing in my brain that's not supposed to be there. Good times for me. So hopefully we have started a medication regimen, which hopefully is going to help this situation. But it has been a bit of a run dealing with the U.S. healthcare situation and how cattywampus, disorganized, and just generally overrun the entire system fucking is. And I don't know what it's like everywhere else. I can only speak for this, but it's has only gotten fucking worse. It's a fucking nightmare. Only consolation I have is that I have good health insurance and I've paid relatively little out of pocket compared to everything I've had done to me. But needless to say, there's been a lot going on.
I mean, do you know what's going on with the brain stuff?
Yes, I do.
Is it bad?
What's that?
Is it bad?
It is a small thing now that is fucking some stuff up, but it's not like they don't think they're going to have to surgically go in and do anything at this point. We're hoping that the medication that I'm now taking will help kind of stop everything that's going on. And if it can stop what's going on, then that would be good. And then, you know, hopefully we can kind of maneuver and live with things from that point. But yeah, that's what I was waiting to hear about was, okay, are we seeing something or we're not seeing it? Because the MRI tech was like, well, we think we see something, but we're not sure. And I'm like, that is not the kind of surety that I need in a situation like this. I need you fuckers to tell me, like, what the hell is going on? So, endocrinologist, thankfully, somebody who knows what the fuck they're looking at and seeing, was able to talk me through what's going on. But the saga to get here has just been unfucking real. And I've still got more to go because the surgery that at some point I'm gonna have to have, because I don't know how they're not gonna, I don't know, they can't say no to me. Not for this. It's like a 6-week recovery time. So we might have another extended break coming up in the fall, Jez. I don't know. Kind of depends on what they tell me.
It's kind of funny, right? Like, British people complain all the time about like the health service, the trains, and like everything else. But
yeah,
no matter where else I go, I'm pretty lucky in the sense that I can be like quite well traveled. I go to America a lot. I speak to a lot of Americans. You know, my girlfriend's German, so I spend a lot of time in Germany. I think England's the best fucking country on earth, man. I was like trying to like I was comparing like getting a train in Germany, and like everyone in England complains how expensive the trains are. I'm like, the same trip in Germany costs twice as much. Twice as much. And if you want to, like, you know, you don't pay anything for healthcare either. And every time I've needed healthcare, the NHS has been there. It's been painless, quick and easy.
It's good.
Job done.
It's good.
Not to brag or anything.
No, please do. It's abysmal. It is. And, you know, we don't get too political on this show very often, past a certain point, I guess. But for-profit healthcare is a horrible model. It
shouldn't be political. Like, Germany, nowhere else on earth has a for-profit healthcare model. Nowhere on earth.
It is.
And there's a reason for that.
And there's a reason for that. I mean, I my experience typically is like, I go to the doctor, I've got to schedule a couple months out, whatever, it's kind of become routine that like it takes that long to see somebody, and medications, whatever. Usually there's quicker ways to message people through the systems that they have. But like when something's really going on, man, it is unbelievably bad. And if you've ever wanted to feel like all of your humanity, all of your individual identity is stripped away from you, get lost in the healthcare system, because you're no longer you. You're a number on a chart or a sheet somewhere, and yeah, they'll lose you for 4 fucking hours when you're having some of the worst pain of your life, and you just gotta lay there and go, well, hopefully they remember I'm here. so yeah, it's been an interesting couple of months. This isn't going to be resolved certainly by the time BlizzCon rolls around. So when you see me, we'll still be dealing with some of this shit. So it'll be interesting. Disneyland was kind of like my preview of coming to BlizzCon of like, all right, well, if I put on 20,000 steps a day, like how am I faring? And we'll make it work. But boy, howdy. I'll be glad when this is done. So that's the catch up. That's the raid segment. That's what's going on. And I'm sorry if you think otherwise about the American healthcare system, then clearly you haven't had enough problems, or you're just rich and you don't have to worry about shit. Like my mom, who apparently can just go to any clinic anywhere and they got the money to do fucking what all stuff. I guess it all depends. All right, we're like an hour in, and it's been very little about actual Warcraft stuff on a Warcraft podcast. So I'm gonna go ahead and start shifting gears, because we do have a new patch and we got stuff going on with patch 12.1. So let's get into that. So we're now like 5 days in to the patch 12.1 Curse of Ula tech goodness, and after having a nice long break where I went to neither Nagtal or Delvar or Evis or wherever it was that we were supposed to be going in the last little mini patch, I didn't really do much of that, I'm sorry to say, but I was really excited to get back in, because 12.1, we got all the big stuff, right? New zone, new raids, new dungeons, new delves, all the good stuff. So if you've been in it, we have a new zone, the Coiled Isle, and by no means was a secret, because you could see it off the coast of Zul'Aman, and we were pretty sure that's where we were going to be going. And sure enough, the veil was lifted as we are chasing, I think, and Jazz, I'm curious to get your take on this. I think Zul'Jin is one of the best characters of this expansion, this story so far, and sort of his journey now of being a troll who has lived through and seen some shit and does not believe in the Loa, that the Loa have failed us, the Loa let us down. My sister, the Hashe, who is supposed to be, the leader of all of this now and totally buys into the power of the Loa. He is completely the opposite. Fuck them. Fuck this whole thing. I need to find a source of power that is something other than the Loa. I'm Zul'Jin. I'm the grandfather of Zul'Jin. I gotta figure out a way. And so I don't know. Maybe he's getting bamboozled by Malakras. Maybe he isn't, but he ends up finding a way to unlock everything that's going on over there at the Coiled Isle and to gain access to the ultimate Ula tech power that is there. I really hope that this is, and I know I've heard other people say this, I really hope this isn't the end of Zul'Jin, because I have really enjoyed watching both him and Zul'Jara. I think they're both great characters. As you know me, Dyed in the Wool Alliance, but this troll story I have really enjoyed watching play out, and I can understand everybody's reasoning for doing kind of what they've been doing. So for you, Horde Guy, what do you think about all this?
I think Zul'Jin is based and poison pilled, frankly. Nah, I do really like Zul'Jan. I haven't done the full story yet. Obviously, the season itself hasn't started. The new sets look fantastic, and you know me, like when I see a cool bit of transmog, I kind of find myself, because I was honestly thinking of skipping this season, because I've been so busy at work, and you know everything's been nightmarish and chaotic.
Yep.
And I saw the transmog, and I was like, oh boy, that is a really cool Warlock set. And then I saw the Venomous Gladiator Elite set. And I was like, oh boy, that is a really cool looking Venomous Gladiator Silk Armor. Do I want to grind 2,400 rating again? And I think maybe I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. So I thought, you know what? I'll play it anyway. Also, miss my guild a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But I also saw people on Twitter saying that it was good, you know, saying that like the Coiled Isle events, which I haven't unlocked yet, they're saying like the Coiled Isle events are pretty cool. The Coiled Isle itself is a cool area. Obviously the story's pretty interesting. And like I saw some people saying things like, oh, it's so weird that Xal'atath's kind of out of the picture now and it's all about Zul'Jan. And I think that they do that very intentionally to give us a break from Xal'atath, you know, which I appreciate. I like Xal'atath, but I'm so sick of Illyria, man. I hope Xal'atath kills her off for good, because I never want to see Illyria ever again. She's so whiny and annoying and one-dimensional. I just can't stand Illyria Windrun. Yeah, it's like I think it is nice to get a break. There are a lot of things about Warcraft these days that bug me from a philosophical perspective. I do think that still the writing's a little bit, you know, Saturday morning cartoon, you know, compared to like, you know, Warcraft 3, for example. I was playing Warcraft 3 recently. I was doing some nostalgia tripping for reasons which might become apparent after BlizzCon. But I was playing Warcraft 3 and I was just like, you know, Warcraft 3 still has this sort of cartoony vibe to it, right? It still has got the goblins, the silly goblins, but it had this edge to it, right? And I've also been doing a lot of Warhammer 40k at the moment, and obviously like a lot of Blizzard's properties emerged out of the fact that they couldn't get the Warhammer license. You know, so Warcraft is their Warhammer, StarCraft is their Warhammer 40k, right? And you can really feel that inspiration in old school StarCraft and old school Warcraft, where it was like, it's still a bit cartoony, like 40k. Like 40k is like, it's grim, but it's also a bit cartoony and a bit silly. Like the orcs, for example, in Warhammer 40k they're very tongue-in-cheek and silly, but it's like, it's still very adult though. It's very, very adult, you know, if we're being serious. Warcraft was never that adult, you know, it was never that gritty, but at least it had like a bit of bite and a bit of edge. And I do like we talked before about what Hazard Costas, Eon said when I interviewed him, and he said like one of the things he's seen in modern times is that everyone kind of shares the same kind of feedback based on what their favorite influencer says. It's kind of what he said. And like,
sort of what he said to us.
Yeah, it's a paraphrasing, but like, and I kind of agree with that to some degree, but I do think like when I sit there and use like metacognition and really, really think deeply about how I feel about modern Warcraft, one of the things that I do agree with, that is the consensus, is that the writing has lost its bite, its edge, its balls, frankly. You know, like nothing ever seems like, the stakes never seem that high. You know, there's never any horror, or there's never anything horrific these days. There's never anything like, the last time they did it was when they burnt the tree down, right? And there was I loved that so much. I was like, that is badass.
And I think you were in the minority though. I
I
think
was
that's the
definitely the
challenge.
minority.
I think the player base has kind of swung that
I
way.
think the issue with the tree burning was the resolution was handled badly.
Blech.
Like they're trying to humanize Sylvanas again, and I think like the reasons for burning the tree didn't make a lot of sense. But it was in the burning that it was like there was like a flavor of the culling of Strathel, you know. I think they handled it badly, and I think that's what the backlash was too. Really, was the way that whole story arc was handled, because it all felt really out of character for Sylvanas. I think because Sylvanas had she'd flirted with immoral things. You know, if you've done the Hillsbrad quests or the Worgen quests from Cataclysm, you'll know what I mean. But like it felt out of character for her, and that's fine if they can figure out a way of justifying it. Has she just gone mad? You know, does she know something we don't know? And that was kind of like they led us on for months and years, frankly. And even now, she's teasing that she knows something about the Shadowlands that we don't know. I think that's really why people were pissed off. But I think because of that backlash, I do think Blizzard is now scared to do anything with any kind of edge in it. Any kind of edge, Blizzard seems to be scared to do it. So I suppose like when I look at what they're doing with Zul'Jin and Zul'Jara and stuff like that, I'm hoping that it resolves in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, friendship has won the day again. Friendship is magic. Everyone's happy and smiley, and Zul'Jin and Zul'Jara kiss and make up. I mean, not on the lips, obviously, because, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're that way inclined. I don't know. But
very Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones. I mean, fuck it, do it. You know, that'd give it some edge. You know, it'd be controversial, but you know, Game of Thrones is popular, right? But anyway, I digress. I just hope that like it resolves in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, it's fucking Powerpuff Girls again, you know, or something like that. So I'm tentatively optimistic about the direction it's taking. Some of in the initial sequences when what's her face? Owena. I don't like her either. She's lame. When she gathered all the elves and trolls together, and there's a lot of extra dialogue, like, you know, stay a while and listen scenes, where like they talk about a lot of the things that people complained about, which is like, why do the elves suddenly love each other? Like, why are they forgetting about all of their past grievances? They start talking about those grievances again, and that kind of, it felt to me like they've heard the feedback, that they moved on from that too quickly. So it was nice to see them remain cognizant of the fact that this is generational hate.
Yeah,
it's very naive and utopic thinking to think that you can just erase all that overnight.
Yeah,
and I think it's that kind of writing that makes it feel like a Saturday morning cartoon, because if you do live in a country where like there are recent examples of generational hate cycles, like, you know, Northern Ireland, for example,
that's what I've seen,
an island of Britain, and colonialism and all the rest of it, you can choose to either be a cartoony kind of game that doesn't touch on complicated real life topics, or you have to treat them with realism and respect. And I think like a lot of what happens in Warcraft is allegorical to things that have happened in real life to some degree, and it has to be, because it's such a huge, complicated kind of world now. So I don't know.
I think that's why I like Zul'Jin, is because he's not letting it go. Like, you hear him when they have these interactions where he's like, they failed us. Like, it doesn't matter how long ago it might have been that the Loa failed us, or like what's happened since then. Like, he's entrenched in that, and so it does feel like there is that going on. Along with, to your point, there's even some dialogue on the main quest line through the Coiled Isle where they ask, like, Liadrin's there, but they're like, where's Lor'themar? And they're like, yeah, no. Like,
yeah, Lor'themar doesn't want to help.
No. And that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That makes sense. So, yeah.
Lor'themar seems, Lor'themar the whole way through seemed a bit kind of like he's been among the most skeptical, and he
Mhm.
should be. Like he's seen the full scale of the war between the Amani and the High Elves and then the Blood Elves. You know,
Mhm.
he's seeing all that shit. And you know, as someone who's been playing WoW for its entire lifespan, I have killed thousands of Amani. Like I raided Zolaman myself
Right.
for an entire season and grinded that fucking bear mount.
I was gonna say, did you get your bear mount?
I didn't, but
Oh.
my guild did. But I didn't.
That was a hard one. That was a very
Um,
difficult one for those that don't know.
Yeah. But you know, it's weird to sort of I'm glad they're not glazing over it, you know.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's become kind of odd, I suppose, as a citizen of Azeroth, because it's ultimately what our player characters are, right? They're citizens of Azeroth.
Mhm.
They're kind of like, yeah, with these powerful, with the champion, we have political influence and all the rest of it. But we've also potentially, if you're a veteran, you've been directly involved in these conflicts. A lot of them. Like I would have been looting these Amani dudes for bijoux or something in another patch. All that like
That's right.
Zul'Gurub. No, that's the Gurubashi, but you know, all the loot and stuff. I can't remember if the Gurubashi and Amani are like related in some way or they're separate empires. Gurubashi Empire is separate to the Amani, right? Were they allied at some point? I can't remember. Troll lore is very complicated, and I'm not going
Yeah.
to pretend that I know I
Yeah.
know all of that shit off by
I
heart.
sort of.
Yeah. I remember there's because I play on an RP server and they used to, what were they called now? There was a legendary EU troll guild called the Second Gurubashi Empire. And they were so anal about lore accuracy. So like I had friends in that guild and like I learned a lot of the troll lore from how strict they were about you must know all of this lore about the Gurubashi and the Amani and all the rest of the troll tribes, because it is quite deep, you know. And I'm rambling a bit now, but that's why people get so passionate about this stuff, is because all this lore that they're touching on has literal decades of books and precedent and established lore and history that Blizzard is potentially walking all over to tell a sort of potentially Disneyfied, maybe even preachy kind of story. And that's kind of my fear with this Zul'Jan thing, because, you know, and like I say, we don't get political on this show or whatever, but there is this stereotype with West Coast American game devs who like to sort of inject certain narratives into games, and you know, and I'm not red pilled, and I'm not going in that direction when I say this, right? But it does feel like as a European, there's a lot of American exceptionalism when it comes to discussing these topics. I think personally,
I can understand that.
And it's like Americans often like to think they know what it's like, you know, to their experience is all encompassing. It's kind of, you know, kind of. Sometimes I feel like some Americans behave that way on both sides. You know, this is not a political comment necessarily.
Sure.
So I'm worried about where they'll take the Zul'Jan thing. Is it just going to be like, oh, he's a toxic man doing poison things because he's got masculinity issues, and you know, because he feels inadequate and stuff. You know, I just like, am I gonna be rolling my eyes by the end of this, or is he gonna do something cool and badass? You know,
He's probably gonna die. I mean, that's probably what they're gonna do. You know, he gets taken over.
Is he gonna die a hero
by the holy
or
venom spirit, and then that's it?
Yeah. I mean, I remember like I think one of the things that like I think a lot of people didn't like about Sylvanas' story arc with the tree was that she it felt like she ran away from her convictions almost, you know, that's sort of like, and I think that's why like Garrosh is so appealing to certain segments of the player base, myself included, because he was so fucking unrepentant. You know, he was unfucking repentant
to the end, to the bitter end.
he was angry in hell, you know, and that's not potentially a good way to be as in real life, but it's fun to watch in a fictional setting, you know. Whereas like I feel like every single WoW character nowadays is like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I had trauma, you know, and all that kind of thing. Give us more.
There's a lot of that. Dicks. I agree.
I just want more unrepentant dicks, you know. And if Zul'Jin wants to go down this path, I'd be interested to see him become an unrepentant dick, like Zul'Jin. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they killed that cool uncle. You know, the lowest speaker uncle. They killed him, and he seemed momentarily upset, but then kind of got over it. So
yeah,
he's moving forward. But yeah, I all that stuff that you're touching on, I think is really front of mind heading into this patch and this part of the story of like, how do they handle it? And people have been talking about it for a while about how concerned they are with you've set up some interesting stakes, you've set up some interesting character work here. Like, is the payoff going to be appropriate for what that is? So that is a concern that I am seeing.
It's a credit to Blizzard's writing that people do feel invested in Zul'Jin. I think. Like, I was watching a cutscene where I won't spoil it, but there's a cutscene like near the start of the Coiled Isle story where Zul'Jin has an interaction with his sister Zul'Jara, and it's not like Game of Thrones, but there's a moment where Zul'Jin looks back at Zul'Jara, and the facial work, his facial expressions are so detailed when he's sort of like he's looking back like you know, sort of dismissively, and I just noticed like there's a lot of amazing character acting delivered through that. Almost looked like facial motion capture, and I was like, was that did they hand animate that?
They just continue to improve those in-game cutscenes. They're amazing now.
Yeah, like he's like when it's like, I know there's like two levels of in-engine cutscenes. There's like the in-engine cutscene where it's like, you know, it's just the character models moving around, and then there's like the full-blown in-engine sort of machinima style pre-rendered cutscene.
Yeah,
and then you get like your full-blown CGI cutscene like at the start of the expansion. But like the in-engine pre-rendered cutscenes, like they're just like so good now. And I think that's another reason why like people feel invested in Zul'Jin, because he's so expressive. He's really, really expressive.
Oh, and very, yeah.
It's but yeah, but people are nervous because Blizzard tends to take good characters and good story arcs and then somehow fuck them up, like we saw with the tree, you know. Because I love that. I love burning the tree, bro. I can't tell you how much I love that whole patch.
I think you talk about it at least every episode, if not every other.
Murdering. I was like,
I'm surprised you don't have a tattoo of a burning Teldrassil like going up your arm somewhere.
That's not a bad idea, bro.
Not a bad idea. With a little catapult.
I hate that tree. Savalas did nothing wrong.
Smoking husk, you know. Yeah. A little goblin on top.
Yeah, mate. I just want diverse characters that don't all behave in the same way. That's what I'm yearning for out of Warcraft. And Zul'Jin is like if you look at like Liadrin, Verisa, and Illyria, okay, like Verisa and Illyria are sisters, so that makes sense to some degree.
Yeah.
But all of the sort of hero characters that follow us around, like they all behave in the same kind of way, and it gets really boring, man. And like they're only aesthetically different in some regards. I don't know.
Listen, that's one of the reasons why I'm a Varian Wrynn person, because like Logosh, he's just going out there and whooping ass, and you know, it may not have always been the right decision. Yeah, he kind of softened towards the end, but like he was very deep in his convictions about like, I'm just going to go out there and fuck shit up because that's my role. That's my gig. That's what I'm good at. That's how I protect my people. And there was a strength to that I think, you know, resonates with some of us in a different way. Whereas I to your point, there does seem to be a lot more like, oh, I'm not sure if I should do this. I feel a sense of hesitation about this.
Yeah, they're also unsure of themselves. Like,
yeah,
what, like Talia, what's her name? Talia Fordring? Is it Talia?
Talia, yeah.
And then, is it Tessa Greymane?
Yes.
They are both the same character. And, like, Tessa Greymane is so lame compared to Gen Greymane. Like, Gen was, like, a badass.
Tess Greymane, that's right.
Tess Greymane, yeah. Gen was, like, this badass who was, like, angry and hated the Forsaken. And that was cool. And then they replaced them with, like, this shrinking Violet kind of, like, oh, I'm unsure, and oh, maybe the Horde aren't that bad. You know, it's like, I want war, I want violence, I want death. I want death.
More rugged than that. No?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I just want more death.
That's it.
Death, slaughter, and
well, it's coming. It's coming. I still feel confident that this expansion is going out on a low note. We're going to get our asses handed to us, and it's going to be some bad shit. I still think that. So
more, man.
That's essentially where we are on the story. Now we're heading into raid week, and I assume we see a cinematic in like a few days. It's the end of the raid, and we'll find out, you know, more of what happens. And then they've already teased for us the next chapter of picking up the hunt for Xal'atath. So it does feel like this is, you know, a momentary stop, and it's going to have some sort of resolution, but then somehow it feeds into, okay, now we're back on the hunt for Xal'atath. So the respite, at least in terms of what we know about the story, it might be a little quick, but you know, these seasons tend to go on for a while. So it's going to be a little bit till we pick that up. So that is the story that we're at. We're seeing Zul'Jin. He's trying to get this ancient power that the Amanis used to have in the form of Ulatek, this fucking giant snake, serpent, hydra, something. This is all kinds of bad. And we're doing this in the Coiled Isle, which has, as some of us know, have been there already, plenty of outdoor activities. You've got Vaults of Ulatek, which I think that's the new dungeon. New dungeon's Altar of Fangs. That's right. New dungeon is Altar of Fangs. We got a 3-boss dungeon there. The 8-boss raid that opens this week, the Venomous Abyss. We have new layers, which are the new world boss versions. I don't know. Have you had a chance to check those out yet? The new world boss instance.
I tried it. It's, you know, it's just a loop in your not very interesting.
So the world boss now works the same way that like a delve does, right? Where you go to the location and then you queue up, and it depends because there's normal, heroic, and mythic difficulties now. Is that right?
Yeah, like you can. Well, I did the world boss version, so like that was really easy. But I didn't try on the higher difficulties. I don't know if that's like going to be a thing where you. I suppose it's going to be a thing where you pug it and stuff, and like I suppose people will learn the tactics over time. But yeah, I mean it's a cool idea. It's similar to what Final Fantasy 14 does with its trials, right? They're just like one boss instances, but it's like it's not like Blizzard hasn't done it before. That's what Onyxia was. That's what Gruul's Lair had 2 bosses in it. So it's not like there's not precedent. I suppose it's pretty cool that they've sort of made it a staple kind of feature, I guess.
Yeah. We also have, and I haven't had access to these yet, so I'm curious how these go. We're going to have 2 sort of player progression systems. There's going to be the Altar of Corrosion, which is going to have a bunch of talents that we unlock. The first one that I know I'm going to be gunning for is the one that reduces the amount of damage you take from walking over the poison in some of the areas. That venom neutralization, I think, is going to be a big deal. Along with the Corrosive Codex, which is going to have, it's kind of connected to this, a whole other set of abilities that you can unlock, and the currency that you need for those, for these to unlock these corrosive powers. You'll need corrosive souls, which you'll get by just doing activities that you usually do. And you can have one at a time until I think you unlock 6 or 8, and then you can have 2 at a time, so you can mix and match and get different crazy powers and venom all over the place. And it works in all the zones, so it's not just 12 Isles, I don't think. So you can take that anywhere. Let's see, what else do we got here? We have the Venomous Abyss, 8 bosses. Jez, you'll have to tell me how that goes, because I'll probably see it on Raid Finder, and that's probably going to be about it. But we've got this week, August 18th, will be normal, heroic, mythic, and Raid Finder Wing 1. August 25th, we get story mode, people like me, Raid Finder Wing 2, and then September 1st will be Wing 3. September 8th will be Wing 4 as we unlock all of that fun stuff. The Primeval Sky Friend is the mythic mount. That's a great name. Thing is terrifying, so there's no chance that I'm going to be doing any of that. But Jez, maybe the biggest thing for me, housing updates. Lots of housing updates, big housing updates. We got blueprints now. So if you're super lazy and you don't want to do anything and you just want a super cool house, you want to take somebody else's version of it, now you can. I saved my current one and blew it up and then put it back into place so I can vouch for the blueprints working. I don't know if it's always going to work, but it's working now. You can place a bunch of pet beds now. You can have up to 100 pets roaming your house, Jez. So I don't know what pets you're going to choose, but you can do that. A bunch of new decor, all the usual stuff. Added some really cool rooms that are like these pre-made. I think they're calling them artisanal rooms. So there's a couple different flavors of these things, but I know for me, I had to pick up all the Stormwind ones. There's like an armory, which just it's just the outline of stuff. It's not like there's things placed in it. But there was an armory, a kitchen, like a display hall, like a raid hall kind of thing. All sorts of stuff. And then there's the Westfall Barn. If you really want that fall feeling, you can get the Westfall Barn and get your scarecrow and your pumpkins out and all that sort of shit. But big updates there. So yeah, overall in this patch, you've got the zone, you've got Vault of Ulutek, public events, cursed surges, cursed fishing. Jez, I know you're all about cursed fishing. The Venomous Abyss raid, Altar of Fangs. There will be, I think, 3. Looking for the delves. There's 3 new delves, I believe. The Ring of Glory, Gnarldor Isle, and Venom Fall Deeps, which is the Nemesis delve. So the homie Romulo and I will definitely be checking those out. And of course, season 2 begins this coming week. Argentina quests for people like me who don't get all bent out of shape about what's going on in there. And I know some people got all pissed last time about it breaking certain lore things, but you know what? Life moves on. It'll be all right. It'll be fine. Jez, I can play with bots now in PvP, so you might actually hear me doing some PvP stuff. I might actually do it. It might be coming. And then new endeavors. That's also the other housing thing. We've got some new endeavors. I know right now it's the Imani troll one, just so everybody can get a hold of that and see that. There's a kobold one, an Onaran centaur one, which I guess people like them enough that they get their own endeavor. And Tortolans, which I'm surprised it took that long. Everybody loves those fucking turtles. So there's going to be, even though you have to kill, I think, a few possessed ones in the new raid. So try not to enjoy knocking off those Tortolans too much. But in a nutshell, that's what we've got right now. And we'll be looking at this patch for quite some time, as these big ones tend to be. And I assume with BlizzCon a month out, probably going to see something pretty quick about what's coming next. And that way they can lay out what's going on at BlizzCon about what the big stuff is. So on to BlizzCon as a segue for us. I did talk some time ago about tickets and planning and access and like what's going on. And Jez, for you, still coming as press. Yes, you're still going to be there doing the press thing.
Yeah, in theory.
In theory. So this is I don't know, maybe insider baseball type thing, but for the content creator side of things, it appears that the press access has been significantly limited. I didn't get press access, which doesn't mean shit really, but I don't know but one content creator who did, and it's one of the big ones. There are other big ones that did not. I don't know what the strategy is. I don't know what the budget is. I don't know what's going on. I inquired as best I could, but they're typically tight-lipped about these things, as they kind of have to be. So I don't have press access this year. So it's just going to be me and a homie Rommel and Jez hanging out and having fun. And then Jez has got to go work. And then we're going to go, I don't know, raid a food truck or something while he's got to go do an interview. And then we'll pick him back up and then go hang out and do more cool stuff. So maybe Jez can bring us down some free lunches. We'll see what they've got set up. But did get invited to something for content creators. So I hope I'm not like giving away the store here, but I did get invited to something. So I'm sure there'll be some pictures and video and media of that. So I am very lucky and grateful, I should say, to be at least looped into that. And it sounds like that's kind of the main thing for us folks. So I do want to thank Blizzard for thinking of little old me when they're putting some of this stuff together, because it does sound like some things have changed. We don't know right now what the schedule for BlizzCon is. I assume a month out. We should be finding out something about what they've got planned and where things will be, and maybe this last minute decision making. And I'm not gonna ask you to spoil anything, but Jez, you seem to be pretty positive that this is gonna be a good BlizzCon, or there's gonna be some pretty wild shit happening. So am I correct in this assumption?
Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I have heard some really interesting stuff, rumors.
Okay.
There's a couple of things that I'm really hoping are true.
Okay.
If you've been listening to the show for a while,
Yeah.
what kind of things I want Blizzard to do.
Uh-huh.
One of the things I've heard is very exciting. But I think if another couple of things are true, I think a bunch of folks are going to be happy. It seems like they're going hard for the anniversary, because it's their 35th anniversary this year, right? And it's sort of is it their 40th this year or something like that? It's Diablo's 30th. Is it Blizzard's 30th? Blizzard's 30th anniversary?
Maybe.
Okay, so it's Blizzard. I think it's Blizzard. It's just Blizzard's 30th anniversary.
Okay.
Or was it? Or was that last year? No, that was Warcraft's 30th was last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's some fucking anniversary.
Some important date.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bethesda had their anniversary this year, and Xbox is having their anniversary this year. So it feels like they're doing a lot of fan servicey kind of stuff this year.
Oh.
I don't know if you saw QuakeCon, they brought Wolfenstein 3D to Xbox backwards compatibility with Play Anywhere, which was fun,
Fantastic.
So there's a lot of, I think there could be some cool shit. But again, I don't know 100% if what I've heard is true. But yeah, I'm pretty.
Do you think? Because my assumption is here we have 12.1 just came out. I think we're all assuming that this expansion gets to a 12.2, and then we're looking at Last Titan. Do you think, given the timing of how this all works out, do you think that we're going to get a little bit of Last Titan stuff? Do you think we're going to see like a cinematic? Do you think it's just going to be kind of some general thematic things that they're going to dance around? What do you think is the likelihood we see like something big for Last Titan?
I think they'll go big for Last Titan.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
They've done that before, where it's like they talk about the final patch of the expansion, but also the Lost Titan and the next expansion. I think there's a good chance there isn't a BlizzCon next year.
Okay.
Because I know Microsoft and whatever wants to save money, and I do think they've got a lot of cool shit to show all at once here. BlizzCon is also a very expensive event to put on.
That's what you said.
It doesn't make them any money. Like even the tickets, because the tickets are really expensive. But putting on an event on the West Coast is monstrously expensive.
Yeah.
And also it detracts from dev time, so that has monetary cost too. So
true.
And again, this is just my speculation. My speculation is that we probably don't get BlizzCon next year, and they go super hard this year, and that maybe like any other Blizzardy kind of announcements, they either put in the Xbox show or Gamescom next year instead of having a full-blown BlizzCon. But I think this year they're going to go really hard for BlizzCon.
Okay.
And maybe BlizzCon comes back the year after. Maybe they do it on a bi-yearly basis moving forward. I don't know, but that's just speculation. I'm just very excited for what we're going to see.
Yeah.
For every franchise that Blizzard has.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Feels like it's going to be big. Like everybody's going to get a piece of the pie this time, and I mean everybody, and that's going to be awesome. So
I think so.
Yeah. You'll know, Jez will know when certain things pop up, even if we're not in the same place together. You know that there's going to be at least, I'm going to, two drops of pee might be squeezed out of me out of excitement, just sitting in my seat. I'm going to be super excited. So on that note, this was something that was talked about right after we went on break because it kind of popped up again, but I wanted to talk about it just a little bit with you. There was a screenshot. I want to say this was like a couple of years ago that somebody had taken of what was purportedly a confidential presentation document, and it had a whole bunch of stuff on it. There's no confirmation of what it is or is it true or whatever the thing is. But if you look at the Classic / Camelot, it's the second row there of items. It was recently data mined that there is something related to Classic with a code name Camelot tied to it. And once people saw that and dug this back up, freakouts galore. Because if you look at this, I'm gonna blow this up so hopefully people can see this. We're looking at top line, it's Warcraft, you got War Within, you got Midnight, and then Last Titan, whatever's after that, and then whatever's after that. So you can see they're like trucking along, and so far what we've experienced has kind of matched this. And mind you, this is a few years old now. Then you've got Classic, and they're showing kind of the rollout of Classic, and then below it, whatever this Camelot thing is, and opinions vary about what it could be. Is this Classic Plus? Is this mobile something? Whatever that might be. Below that, you have Warcraft Chronicles RTS, and with a little bubble that says anime series above it, which, holy shit, if that was ever true, we've all been screaming for years. Why is there not an anime? Why is there not a animated something? Why is there not a live action something? Well, if you look below that, there's something about Arthas and a live action Arthas series, which I have also seen other screenshots that people have purportedly taken of a whiteboard that had the entire show like worked out by episode of like who and what that might look like. And so with that fresh data mining coming out, this suddenly gained a whole lot of relevance and interest again. And I know that you see things that people tell you things or share things with you. So I certainly don't want you to betray anything that you may have had to take into confidence. But has this rung true to you in terms of like shit on the horizon from back then?
Well, it's weird, right? Because like if I was like one of these grifter kind of YouTubers, I'd be sitting there like, oh yeah, I totally knew about all this. But I'll be completely honest. I haven't seen anything about Camelot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything about Warcraft Chronicles RTS.
Yeah.
Or the Arthas Action RPG.
Yeah.
Part
Okay.
of this franchise slate. So it's hard to say without spoilers.
Yeah.
I'll say
That's
this.
fine. I don't want to push too hard. We'll get you in trouble. You're in the good graces these days.
My belief is that Blizzard is building up an RTS team again. Put it that way.
That'd be awesome.
So I don't know if that's sort of like for this Chronicles thing, for example. I have no idea what Warcraft Chronicles is, but I've heard of other RTS projects that are in the works.
Yeah.
So, and I think that my expectation is that they're slowly working their way back to making RTS games, similar to how Microsoft kind of put together ensemble veterans to make World's Edge to bring Warcraft, Age of Empires back. So Age of Empires has done very, very, very well for Microsoft. It's a very niche genre, but those users are highly engaged and extremely passionate. And I think like in an era where Fortnite just kind of dominates everything, Fortnite and Roblox and whatever, having like a smaller but heavily engaged, hyper passionate fan base is worth having, even if it's a small niche like an RTS. So evidence I've seen suggests that Blizzard is working towards making real-time strategy games again. I'm not going to say what that looks like now, but I am, if what I've heard is true, I am pretty excited. And it doesn't, what I've heard doesn't necessarily line up with this Warcraft Chronicles thing. But I hope that that's where we're going with this, with some of these other projects that I've heard of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll eat anything that they serve me, but you know, to me, I always go back to, and this is something we haven't even talked about yet either, is, you know, when Edge Runners came out, what that did for Cyberpunk. And the Edge Runners, and just as an aside, the Edge Runners 2 trailer looks fucking insane, and it got me so hyped up I started another Street Kid run. So actually during the break I've been running through Cyberpunk again, just because I was like, oh my god, I'm feeling the juice. But you saw what that did to the franchise, and especially for Warcraft, there's just always been so much meat on that bone that they have not done anything with, other than one movie that got really fucked with, and despite Duncan Jones's best attempts and some insane CGI on those fucking orcs, it didn't really land the way that they wanted it to, and so we didn't get to go anywhere else. But it's the universe is just tailor-made for an anime or a live action or something that you can actually take the time and breathe the life into it. And you know, the Arthas story, the kind of Arthurian-esque legend of that, it's easy for a lot of people to pick that up, I think, if that is in fact something that they were thinking about doing. An anime, Christ, you could pick any era, really, and run something through. Even, you know, probably be smart to start at the beginning so people have a grasp of it from ground zero. But man, if because I still think someday they've got to do it. Whenever they announce some show or something that they're doing, it's gonna be crazy, because people have been clamoring for this forever. So seeing this and seeing something giving it some credibility, man, it I think it just makes the hopes for BlizzCon that much higher. Because if what you're saying is true, like they're gonna shoot their shot here and now, because it's gonna be a while till they get another one of the same degree, then man alive, I could very well, I mean, if we're at towards the end of 26, you could announce stuff that would be early 28. Why not? So yeah, this one got a lot of people hyped, and I know there's a bunch of YouTube videos and other folks that are out there. So if you haven't seen it, you know, if you look up, I think like Reddit leak or something like that, I'm sure you can find it. But I had this for you, and I wanted to touch on this while we had a chance, because it's a crazy one, and in a month we're gonna know, and then we'll come back and we'll talk all about it and see who was right. And
I think one of the interesting concept about a Chronicles RTS is that like it doesn't necessarily need to interfere with modern established lore, because like while I bitch and complain about the current lore, what would piss me off even more personally is like splitting the timelines or having retroactive continuity, and I don't really. I think I kind of like it. It cheapens it to me when there's like, oh, we're gonna do one timeline for this audience and a different timeline.
Yeah,
for
I don't like that either.
Yeah, it cheapens it to me. So I like the idea of, like, for example, like there are wars that have taken place in the universe that aren't really depicted very well in an MMO setting.
Yep.
That perhaps you could really showcase the scale of how they're intended to seem, because the way I kind of imagine some stuff, like for example, the Burning Crusade, when we invade Hellfire Citadel and we bust through the Dark Portal, and there's that like there's all like the Horde and the Alliance fighting demons at the portal and stuff like that. They can't depict, there's like dozens of soldiers, right? Because if there was hundreds or thousands of soldiers,
right.
then the servers would explode, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, like, Stormwind is less of a city and more like a village in the game.
Right.
So compared to the concept art, which showcases it as like this huge sprawling mega city, basically.
Or if you look at the movie.
Or the movie, yeah. Huge sprawling mega city. So you kind of, like, when you play an MMO, you kind of accept that, like, some things are scaled back for gameplay reasons.
Yep.
Like, I think they've done a really great job in recent years ramping up that scale. Like Silver Moon 2.0 is a great example.
Yeah.
And the Nightborn city, Suramar, for example, that is probably the best city in the game. But boy, howdy, that made my computer lag. The computer I had back then, it was laggy. But anyway, I digress. It's like there's a lot they could do with different mediums, like Arthur's Action RPG, Warcraft Chronicles RTS. They could show wars that events in the Warcraft universe that have like a different spin on it or from a different perspective without necessarily retconning or breaking the established lore. Or they could do things like remake Warcraft 1 and 2. Maybe that's the Chronicles bit. He's remaking 1 and 2 with modern visuals and modern characterization, and maybe tidy up some bits of the lore that has been retro retconned for whatever reason. Like the Draenei stuff, I suppose. Could they go back and remake some of that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And could they go even further back? Because World of Warcraft's history spans tens of thousands of years. Yep. Could they go all the way back and do, like, I don't know, the War of the Spider or something? Or could they do, like, the Black Empire? Or I don't know, stuff like that, I suppose there's a lot of potential there without necessarily breaking the current timeline, but it might not even be true.
Why not?
Might not even be true.
Why not? We're gonna find out soon enough. So there's your most recent half verified leaks, and we'll see what's coming. At least in terms of what leaks there may be. But in the meantime, there was a very brief leak about something, and then they quickly announced it, and that is Dungeons and Dragons and World of Warcraft do indeed have an official collaboration, and it is for sale right now. And if ever there was a peanut butter and jelly of the gaming situation, it's this, because I can't believe it took this long for these two franchises to get together. It must have been a hell of a thing to work out. If I recall correctly, I think John Haidt, who used to work for Blizzard and was the Warcraft GM, now works over there at Wizards of the Coast. So I'm not entirely surprised, I guess, that this is finally coming. But if you go and you look, they've got quite a readout of this thing. We've got, let's see, 6 new subclasses that are being introduced: Oath of the Ebon Blade and Oath of the Holy Paladin, the Demon Hunter Ranger, the Shadow Domain and Discipline Domain Cleric, and the Path of the Elements Barbarian. We have 3 updated subclasses: Swashbuckler Rogue, Path of the Spiritual Guardian Barbarian, and Warrior of Mystic Brews Monk. 16 species from Azeroth: Drakthir, Draenei, Earthen, Forsaken, Heronir, Mechanome, Pandaren, Tauren, Troll, Volpera, and Worgen. Let's see what else we got. 60 spells, 25 magic items, 50 monsters, 30 dungeon bosses, 7 iconic dungeons reimagined: Jol Narub, Blackfathom Deeps, Dead Mines, Dire Maul, Nyxia's Lair, Scarlet Monastery, Shadowfang Keep, and 25 factions to fortify your legacy. And there are a whole bunch of versions of this that you can buy, including what I'm probably going to end up plucking down for, which is the Ultimate Collector's Edition, which has got all the books and GM screens and all the horse shit you could possibly want for a D&D campaign. But I mean, this just seems like the most obvious fucking thing of all time, and I can't believe it took this long for these franchises to get together. But I was pretty excited to see this. It feels right, considering how much of Warcraft's DNA like comes out of D&D. Like it's always felt like an unofficial tribute in a way, I guess. So I'm glad to see that they finally buried the business hatchet on this to get it done. But what was your reaction when you heard about this?
I mean, I guess. I mean, they've done board games and stuff before. Like, you showed some of them off, right? I've never played D&D, so I don't have much skin in the game. But I know it's.
Oh my gosh!
It's apparently popular. I've heard. Apparently.
Have you really never played D&D?
No,
like,
I don't have any friends, bro.
What?
Never played.
Blowing my mind up. No. Oh my god. We got to figure out a way to sort that. That just doesn't seem right to me. Well, I guess that'll make our Q&A time pretty interesting then when we get to that, because we do have a question about that. But yeah, if you are so inclined, there are a variety of versions for this for sale or pre-order, I should say. They're not out yet, but there's a bunch of different ancillary pieces. But it's all the great Warcraft art going on, and it's Icecrown Citadel based adventure. So you've got all the Lich King stuff. Again, the Lich King is still the king. There's no other baddie that comes close, I think, in the common nerdy zeitgeist. He's the man. That's just what it is. Even if he got dissolved into a puff of smoke and then less, he's still very prominent in people's minds, I guess, when it comes to the franchise. So if that is something that you've been waiting for, there you go. You're gonna get your chance. So get out there and get it now. And that in and of itself is a great segue to our Q&A. And it's been so long. Hopefully I can remember which sounder to hit. And if I don't hit the right one, I'm just gonna edit it out anyway. So you guys get the benefit of that. So let's see if I guessed the right one.
Q&A.
I definitely got that on the first shot. So that's all you people need to know. All right. These are all coming from our Discord. If you have not joined our Discord, please join our Discord. That's where we get our questions. That's where I hit the at everyone thing and blast everybody's alerts and shit. So I try not to be annoying about it, but listen, I need help. So that's just how it goes. So first up, coming out from Storm Wintage. Love that name still. What do you guys think of this product, being the Warcraft D&D? Are you going to buy it, and are you going to play it? Yes and yes. I don't know when I'm going to play it, but I'm definitely going to buy it, because look at this addiction problem that I have. If it comes out, I have to buy it. It's a compulsion. Some people it's boozing. Some people it's cocaine. Some people it's PCP. For me, it's Warcraft shit. If you put Warcraft shit out here, it's going to happen. Because let me tell you, in a few months, hey, look at that. In a few months, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but there should be a 1/6 bust of a very handsome man sitting back here somewhere that I have paid a lot of money for like a year ago, because I'm just a whore for all this stuff, and that's how it goes. So yes, gonna buy it, gonna play it at some point. Jez, with that admission from earlier, I don't know if you're gonna play it, if you're gonna have it, but Why are you digging around down there?
I just realized, like, because I've come back to England for the first time in a while, and I just realized, like, there's a pile of boxes here from like various companies have sent me various things.
Holy shit!
There's a collector's edition, Warcraft collector's edition, and Crimson Desert.
Wow, boy,
There's a Stalker 2 collector's edition.
good to be the king. Look at this.
It's you know, there's a Fallout 76 thing over there as well. Like, I haven't been back for like months, so
Wow.
I've just got a pile of. When you talked about boxes and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, I got boxes here as well.
So you'll play it if
What
somebody
is that?
sends it to you. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I mean, I haven't played Crimson Desert at all, and I haven't written a single article about it. So I do not know why they've sent me a collector's edition, but I appreciate it very, very much.
'Cause you're the man. That's why.
I should probably give it a go. What's in this box? Spotify? The Spotify sent me something as well.
What?
Yeah, I've got no idea what this is.
I hear live unboxings are very popular, so we'll let this go on. Let's see what happens here.
It says Spotify logo.
Fuck.
I don't know what it is. It is a... Oh, so this is for the Xbox 2 podcast. And it's a little award.
What the fuck?
We've won a Spotify Wrapped award for the Xbox 2. The Night Owl. So I don't know what that means. But
Well, congratulations. You're never going to win anything
Ooh.
on this podcast, so it's probably good that you're bringing some of that award juice.
Oh, and a sound thing.
Sonos. Oh, that's pretty good. Sonos bar. Those are good.
Is it Bluetooth? It's a Bluetooth speaker. right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Spotify. But yeah, sorry, it's random.
Wow.
Random side there. Spotify Wrapped. And are these chocolates? I think they're chocolates. Yes, they are chocolates.
See, for those of you that
Spotify
listen
chocolate.
or have listened to this podcast or watched this thing for as long, this is what a real podcast gets. They get awards and shit, not like this where we get the hand-me-downs and the half-empty Amstel light bottles. This is Jesus Christ.
These chocolates are melted because it's been summer, so they're good. Pretty old though now. Dusty.
That's the closest this show is ever going to get to a Spotify award. So at least it happened once. That's good.
And a water bottle. A bottle of water. Sorry, I'm just unboxing things now.
While Jez's ADHD takes hold, we're gonna go on to the next question. Something to think about while you're looking at your goodies there. We got a question from Shatvan who asked, while most of us agree that the 8-week patch cycle is too ambitious, I can't help but feel like I'm so done with the current content. Is the patch cadence actually working better than we realize? And to that I say it depends on, we're talking about addictions. It depends on how addicted you are, I think, to the game. If you play it regularly and you wear out the content, then yes, it probably is because you are spending the time to consume everything that they've got. And you can do it if you've got the time. I just think that most of the player base just doesn't. Not anymore. I feel like we're just generally older because as Jez has talked about many times, this game has a difficult time picking up new people. And so there's this tranche of us just kind of moving through time and getting older, and we just don't have the time. So I think if you can do it, sure. I think it works great. If you can't do it, then I still think it's too short. But I don't know, Mr. Award winner. What do you think?
I literally wrote an article bitching about the patch cadence. So
Right, you did.
I did, but like part of me is just thinking like maybe Blizzard's right, because I I did go pretty hardcore last season. I've never done the PvP grind before. I unlocked every single set all the way up to Mythic and did the 3000 Mythic Plus rating. I got pretty damn burned out. Like how hard I went on it.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to come back now. So maybe the patch cadence is fine. I think like those mini patches in the middle, but I completely ignored those mini patches in the middle.
Yeah.
So part of me is wondering, like, would it maybe be better to scrap those and work on more content for the main patch and just sort of have like a bigger blowout that can last a bit longer? I don't know.
Maybe.
I do wonder how much value Blizzard gets out of those mini patches. I can't imagine this as much as these bigger tentpole raid patches, but I assume Blizzard's got a lot of telemetry and they know far better than me.
Exactly.
But unlike them, but Blizzard doesn't have Spotify Award chocolate, so maybe I know better.
Son of a bitch.
That's toffee. That's delicious.
Oh my god! Now I feel like you're just rubbing it in. I don't know. My ego can only handle so much. All right, last question. And Jez, I think I outdid myself for this Q&A question. I'm really proud of this one. And you may disagree with some of the choices that I've made here, but I let my own ADHD take hold, and I kind of had a little hyper focus on something when I got asked. So here we go. This is from Professor Rig, also known as Lore Bites, who is one of the wonderful content creators I've seen on TikTok, who's constantly putting out hilarious shit. And I'm like, I don't know how people are smart enough to do this, but God bless them, they are. What kind of music would you think all of the major racial leaders in WoW would listen to? Bonus points if it's a kind of metal. So Jez, I thought about this and I was like, bonus points? You want to give me bonus points? I want all the bonus points. So here's what I did. For those that have been around, you might have seen a documentary about the history of heavy metal. You might have seen in that document, they put out a chart of the heavy metal family tree. And so what I did was I took our heavy metal family tree and I assigned who I just picked as the racial leaders or main leaders in World of Warcraft. And I made this chart. So you may disagree with who I chose or what I put them under. But here we go. I'll blow this up a little bit. It's a little hard to read because it is big. But
oh wow.
For Anduin, you'll see him kind of in the middle. I put him under thrash metal. I just felt
worked really hard on this.
He's probably a Metallica guy. Maybe Anthrax. He understands the difference between Metallica and Megadeth, and when he's staring off into the abyss, he's just jamming Sanitarium because it's the last thing holding them together. For Night Elf, I picked Tyrande, and Tyrande, she's third row, kind of in the middle. She's a glam metal fan. She just seems like somebody who's rocking the crew on a regular basis, and when Girls comes on, she's just whooping ass and taking names. For the dwarves, I picked Muradin, and of course, I had to pick power metal for Muradin. Dwarf, he's rocking the Man of War and the Dio, and Windrose, who sang the Diggy Diggy Hole, and Hammerfall. Hammerfall. Come on, I have to go with power metal. For the gnomes, Mekatork. Mekatork is clearly an industrial metal fan. He's off on the right. You can see he's on the fourth row on the right. White Zombie. Definitely a White Zombie fan. Rob Zombie fan. Maybe he's getting into a little bit of the Static X, from back in the day. Like, he just seems like an industrial metal guy. Draenei, Velen, he's old. He's very old. So there's only one answer. Early metal, way at the top of the tree. Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, like he was there when it was created. That's the only version of this that makes sense. For the Worgen, as we talked about her earlier, Tess Greymane, third row, all the way on the right. She seems like a goth metal fan to me. Somebody who is, rocking out Typo Negative on a regular basis. This just feels like her jam when she's up there holding the wall, the Greymane wall. For Orc, got to go with Thrall. Got to go with the classics. Third row on the left. He's a grunge fan. He's rocking the Alice in Chains. When he's out there in the Grand, wondering what he's done with his life, you know, he's rocking some Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden. You know, that's his jam. He's a little bit older, but he still knows he still knows how to throw it down. For Trolls, Rokan, Norwegian black metal. It just seems very trolly. Dimmu Borgir has got to be in his playlist. He seems like the kind of guy that he's throwing that on. And he's like, you know what? I'm throwing on some Cradle of Filth and I'm gonna fuck some shit up. That just feels like Rokan to me. Tauren, Bane, stoner metal. What other choice is there? Like, you know, that guy is up there rocking out just with that kind of vibe. It just seems like something you would listen to when you're sitting up on a tall outcropping in the middle of nowhere, which is grassy plains out before you. That just seems like the kind of thing I would do. And don't worry, I will post this whole thing in our Discord so you can see it up close. I know this is a little difficult to see, but I'll post it in there so everybody can see it and get your hands on it. You can argue with me. Forsaken, I picked Lillian Voss. I had to pick one individual. Death metal. Is there anything else for Forsaken than death metal? You could tell me that there probably is, but she just seems like a Cannibal Corpse fan all day long, rocking hard to Corpse Grinder, and then maybe a little bit of Dying Fetus at the end of the night to kind of slow things down before it's time to rest. Blood Elf, Lorthamar, he's a new wave of British heavy metal guy. Right there, third row in the middle. He's a Motorhead fan. Look at him. Tell me he's not a Motorhead fan. If you're telling me that, you're a damn dirty liar, because that's absolutely what he listens to. Motorhead, Iron Maiden, Diamond Head, that's his jam. I don't want to hear anything else. Goblin, Gazlo, Jez, this is for you. He's a new metal guy. Second row from the bottom on the right. Look at the hat he's wearing. He's clearly a Limp Bizkit fan. Get the fuck out of here. There's nothing else that guy listens to. Limp Bizkit, Godsmack, all those guys. Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold. That is the jam. You know that's what he's doing. Pandaren, we have two of them. Asa and G, Metalcore, right there. Third row from the bottom. This is a Corrosion of Conformity group. That's what this is. That's what they listen to. Dillinger Escape Plan. That's all of them. And then last but not least, Drakthir, Azurathel, and Cinder Thrash. All the way at the bottom, new wave of American metal. They're Chimera fans. Killswitch Engage. That's what's going on in that group. All day, every day. So there you go. Those are my choices. That is what I've done. And I'll hear nothing different.
That is hardcore. You should post that on the Warcraft subreddit, I think.
I will post it in our Discord, and I might put it on social media. If other people want to post that somewhere, they can. I'm too scared of that place. I'm too scared, but I'll let everybody else do it. But I could add a few more. There's arguments to be made about who's really the leader of what, who, when, and where. But that is what we're doing for now. So, Jez, you can let me know if I did your boy Gazlo dirty, but that just felt like that felt.
No,
like
I think it felt right. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. So there you go. Does that have to be your opinions out there, folks? But those are mine. So, all right. Coming past 2 hours now. I think we've done enough damage for one episode. For the good folks that don't know out there, where can they find you on the internet, Jez?
You can find me at Jez Corden on Twitter, Blue Sky. I don't really post much on Blue Sky, mostly Twitter, just because that's where the action is. You know, I hate it, but that's where the action is. Also over on winnercentral.com/gaming, and also Xbox 2 podcast on all the other Spotify kind of things.
There you go. Award winner. Go check it out. Hear all the things. And my thanks to all of you as well for tuning in here on YouTube or listening on Spotify. And remember, you can always follow me and the show On Twitter at Berserker Rage and Unshackled_Fury. As much as I don't like it, it's true. That's where all the action is. That is still where we end up posting most everything. On Blue Sky at Berserker and Unshackled Fury, which I really don't use at all, but it is there and you can get a hold of us. I promise all my alerts are on and shit. As well as on YouTube at Unshackled_Fury. You can also join our Discord. Please do. It's where we post a lot of stuff. Links for which are on the profile of the show on Twitter and on our website, unshackledfury.com. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources, or email us at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.